What's going on? My name is Xzavier V, and welcome to the Modern Queer Podcast. I am here today with the incredible, the amazing, the fucking C.O.O. of Wav Village here in Flint, Michigan, Anthony Paul. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, family?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. Highly favored.
Not busted, highly favored.
I can't complain.
Well, I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you being the first guest on the Modern Queer Podcast.
Likewise.
It is a fucking honor. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Man.
Just want to, before we even get in any conversation, I just want to get it out the way. This is sponsored by Wav Village Studios.
Wav Village.
If you didn't fucking know, now you know.
You know now.
Now you know. Now you know. So just want to thank you for all the love and all of the good vibes, energy that you have shown me. Shouts out, happy birthday to your father today. It is his dad's birthday, so
Yes,
shout out
it
to
is.
that. And yeah, let's just get right into this. So before we get into the main topic of conversation, this how I know you really want to talk about this shit. You really know to talk about this shit. So for those that may not know you and who may not have read the article that I wrote about you, explain who you are, a little bit about your background, and what is Wav Village.
So my name's Anthony, Tony, Anthony, Arline. Everybody call me a variety of those names.
That we do.
I am an entrepreneur at heart, man. I'm a artist. I'm a fan of music. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I'm a movie buff.
You a lot of damn things.
I'm a lot of things. But I got started into the Flint scene around 2012, 2013, just right. Hanging around with artists, being wherever John Connor was. My cousins was always working with him. So from there, I decided to go back to school. And when I went back to school, I told you this, I met Tone from Top Authority. He was sitting right next to me. Right. And I didn't even know who he was, so it kind of fucked me up that I wasn't aware of like what was going on in my own city. Even back then, like, cause it was a little bit before my time, but still, I knew the Dayton family. I thought I was a big hip hop buff, so
just because you knew the Dayton
hurt my pride a little bit. Like, damn, I don't know about this. He had a big career,
right?
The group did. So I created this thing called FlyCy, and it was the idea behind it was BET was doing their ciphers. I thought we could do our version of the BET ciphers just better and kind of challenge the world with it. It kind of blew up a little bit to the point where we were able to go indoors with it, and I was able to make a little bit of money off of it, but it wasn't sustainable. So
Right.
Ended up getting a job, going back to school, getting my degree, getting a corporate job, and meeting up with good friends, Charlie and Kevin, and together
shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to the gang.
Shout out to them.
Wav Village. And together, we created Wav Village. Kevin wanted to do something for the city. I always knew that Flint needed a studio, like a home base downtown. So, I pitched it to him.
A centralized location,
yeah,
for sure.
That was a long version, but that's me.
And so, like, one of the things that I really liked about interviewing you and just our discussion in general was it was so very nuanced. Like, we talked so much about just like the different layers that run through the city, musically, sexually, professionally. It just hit so many things. And so there was just a lot of shit that we talked about in that conversation that just could not directly go into the article, obviously, for professional reasons.
That's why we're here.
But yes, that's exactly why we're here. And so, like, the main thing is, and now let's get into this conversation. So, you asked me, had I watched Dave Chappelle's recent comedy special?
Yes.
And at the time, I said no.
I remember.
But I have been, like, Black Twitter is a thing. And Black Twitter will tell you everything. And so, like, I had seen just, like, Black Twitter just up in arms about the special, about what he said about the trans community and all that kind of stuff. And, you obviously, let me back that up. you don't go see the thing for yourself, so you just sort of like believe in.
Yeah, what you really gotta see it for yourself.
You really believe in like the discourse and the drama. You like, oh shit, like I can't believe I used to watch that nigga back in the Chappelle show. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that nigga said that, right? And so today, like before I came here, I had watched the special.
So you hadn't watched it until today?
I hadn't watched it until today because I wanted it to be fresh. I wanted my responses and my reactions to be fresh. I needed it to be fresh.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. This might get me canceled on the first fucking episode.
It's your shit. You can't get canceled on your own shit.
Listen, niggas will try to cancel you for anything. And I have to say, just like, I don't identify as trans, but I do identify as queer or LGBT or whatever. But I do identify with that community.
Yeah, for sure.
Or whatever. And just listening to him, like, I didn't feel like he said anything super. Don't do that. Don't do that. This is why I'm about to get canceled. This is exactly why I'm about to get canceled. I felt like he didn't say anything offensive. In fact, I felt like what he was saying, he did it so ingeniously that it went over everybody's head. And I said, y'all didn't catch the switch up. And so words, right? Like when we talk about words and like how words have different meanings and can be taken different ways and the connotations and stuff like that. I'm like, just how he masterfully used words comedically at that.
Yeah.
Just went over all y'all heads.
So before you had watched it, what was your like perceived notion?
From what I got from Black Twitter was, you know, he was transphobic. He was saying all these hurtful, mean things about trans people. Then, you know, he had brought his trans friend, you know, into the discourse, and people was like, you know, that's like saying, well, my black friend,
right.
Which I was like, okay, you know, but again, this is me not watching it. You know, this is me not getting it for myself and digesting it for myself.
Right.
This is me getting it. A filtered version through people who are going through and being triggered by their own things and their own assumptions. And so when I finally went and watched it, I was like, I don't understand what the fuck the problem was.
And I think a lot of people may have not even watched it and just did what you did and went off those preconceived what everybody else is saying, and this is how he said what, and just reading it word for word without understanding the context and listening to him. And what really kills me is like during his set, before he even, you know, kind of goes in, he makes it a point to be like, listen, I side with y'all on mostly everything.
He really
like
did.
When would I be in the bathroom, see a girl and be like, thank the Lord she's in here because she has a penis. Like, I felt him right there because it will be weird even after that. You will be like, oh shit, that was a dude. Oh, well, what the fuck is he doing in here? Like, or she, like, why is she in here? But I'm not on Twitter that heavy, so I only saw the backlash went to all the other sites.
So like the regular like, general media news coverage.
Exactly. Not the real people actually feeling it, but the news coverage of those stories. And, you know, it's probably like 5 people who posted and go CNN. Twitter, Black Twitter is in an uproar.
Well, I mean, I remember watching MSNBC with my grandmother, and they was talking about it on there.
Come on.
And
I was better to talk about. Ain't it like a million wars happening? Like, you ain't got nothing better to fucking talk about. It's a lot of things.
Dave
Chappelle, trans community.
I mean, but again, like it for me, it was just so fascinating. Like he's, as you said, like he started off, like one of the things that I loved was like he started off like, I'm not transphobic, none of that, because he was like, I didn't know what the words mean, so I had to go like Google, especially when you talk about the feminist thing, and he was like, anybody could be a feminist, and I was like, this is true. It's not just women are not just feminists. Like anybody can be a feminist, but like I liked how he made the switch up, and this is one of the things where I'm like, y'all really wasn't, because I remember somebody tweeted that, one of the news things tweeted that he was calling himself a TERF or whatever.
How do you feel about that?
That's another whole conversation.
I'm gonna get that later, but I really want to know that. But
so in the beginning he was like, no, like I'm not a TERF, I'm not transphobic, I'm not none of that, and he, you know, started telling stories. But then, if you didn't catch it, he flipped it so masterfully because he was like, well, yeah, y'all know I'm transphobic, right? Y'all know I'm a TERF, right? Just like telling these stories. And I was just like, he so masterfully just like turned that around and just like adopted that and created comedic gold out of that. That if that's all you focused on, you didn't even catch or you forgot the switch up that he just told you, right? And so for me, it was just like, it's like news media, news coverage. It's just like, all right, what are you really ingesting? What are you really paying attention to? So, like, what did you get from it? Because you obviously wanted me to watch it, and I'm so curious as to why and what you got from this.
So, I consider myself an ally, you know.
I would agree with that statement.
I mean, I just try not to judge, and, you know, I feel like we're humans. It's humans. We're human. We're all humans.
As his friend said, I'm having a human experience.
Yeah, that really touched me because it's like, bro, if that's not the truest statement ever, like, just let me be me. If I'm not hurting you, just let me be me. What difference does it make what I do? But besides that, I knew there was going to be backlash. I didn't think to the extent because he explained himself. But I'm biased because I'm not in that community. So it's hard for me to speak on pain that I wouldn't understand.
True.
And I understand that.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, when a white person, when we tell one of our white friends, you know, like, that offended me. And they're like, that's not offensive. It's like, well, you wouldn't get offended, bro. You wouldn't. Why would you get offended? I'm talking about me. Like, why are you wearing the Confederate flag?
Yeah.
My history. You know, like that thing to where I don't know if I'm on the wrong side of the argument. I feel personally that Dave was just being funny. You know, that's what he do. But the joke wasn't at my expense. Right. And I understand that. You know what I'm saying?
But, okay, I will say, so talking about nuance and layers, right? In one aspect, it was. Because although you may not identify as part of that community, you identify as black.
True.
And so there is, at least in my opinion, commonality between these communities, like huge 100%. Commonalities. 100%. I'm not positioning slavery and all that stuff to gay rights and all that kind of stuff.
That's going to be the article tomorrow. Xzavier from Flintside.
Okay. Literally. Okay, the nigga who created the only queer magazine in the city, right? Like, wouldn't that be some shit, though? That would be some shit. Listen, I don't know if I would enjoy that or not.
But you get the opposing arguments. You get that the LGBTQ community feels ostracized by everyone. And they, I mean, in our lifetime, it became legal to get married. If you're like, what? In our lifetime? Like, so I can understand that there are very similarities between like rights and liberties and stuff like and that. But then once you get to like high level, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, like
you can't hide blackness.
You can't. And that was a conversation that me and a friend of mine had years ago, right? Was he was like, nigga, if you get stopped by the police, like, they not gonna check you if you gay. They checking you.
Suck a dick, nigga. Black. No, I swear.
Right. Which, again, nuance, right? Because I'm not a very feminine presenting queer man. Right? But it would be different if I was like
100%. Or if you were dressed as a female.
Right. Or if I was dressed in drag, or if I was trans, or anything like that, it would be a different conversation. So at the end of the day, like, all of these things really depend on your perception and your lived experiences. So, but again, like, just them nuances, right? Like, I feel like that's something that black people have always done, which is what makes comedy. It's just, we just take shit that's terrible and we laugh about it. Like, that's how we cope with stuff. And the fact that we can't have discourse and dialogue around this kind of stuff, like, it's either this or this.
But also, I didn't mean to interrupt. I also think there's a bunch of people in the middle, right, who understand this on both sides, like heterosexual and non. There's a lot of people who understand and are allied and they get it. But then there's that
hard left and that hard right.
Yeah,
There's the hard people who don't understand what he was saying and feel attacked, right? And then it's on the same breath, bro, it is the black community, a good chunk of them who feel like, that's what I've been talking about, these gays getting all up in my way. Like that, so this is the thing. Those are the people that are arguing online. Like, we're not arguing with them. We're watching these people argue where they're like, Dave hurt us. And they're like, well, good. Good. I want somebody to hurt you. Like, you guys are too soft. Like, where we're in the middle, like, guys, this ain't about either of y'all.
It ain't about none of that.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's like, at the end of the day, all that is to me anyway, is just traumatic. Like, that's just repeated trauma, just playing on a very digital front over and over and over again. And it's like, well, damn, like, we really out here fucked up about a lot of shit. A
lot of stuff.
That really is of our own design, right? Because another thing is, so why are we still playing in labels and identities, right? If we're all having a human experience, why are we wearing these labels? Like,
give me an example.
So, like, what he brought up, he was like, so does a woman exist? Like, what is a woman? What is a man? You know what I mean? What is it to be black? What is it to be gay? If we are talking about that these things are social constructs, why are we playing a game with social constructs? If that's the case, why don't we just say, hey, I'm human. I like what I like. I do what I do. I want to dress how I dress. I want to use whatever bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, if we want to say we really free, what does freedom look like? You know what I mean? Like, is freedom...
like, our society is built on a lot of stuff that we never had a say in. So, like, taking steps back and rebuilding and restructuring, that's gonna take decades, generations, bro. It's gonna be like, I'm with it type shit. Like, it never mattered. But at the same time, like, imagine us at, like, it's hard for me to see a world right now where everyone gets it. You know what I mean? Where we're not fighting this battle constantly. Like, how do you feel about homosexuality being represented in television and cartoons more?
Ooh.
Yeah, I went there.
Dun, dun, dun. I went there. You know, I'm all for it. Like, I have no problem with anybody really being on television. Because I feel like, for me, I just like to learn. Like, I'm interested in learning about other people's experiences. I'm learning about other people's lives and what they do. I think this is why I like writing and interviewing people and like doing stuff like this where we just have conversations, right? So it's like, to me, it really don't matter because, you know, I'm a 90s kid. I grew up watching, you know, all kind of Power Rangers, to the Brady Bunch, to MTV with TRL, to BET, to VH1, to the news, to UPN before it was the CW. You know what I mean? Like, all these different things, like, have influenced me in one way or another, right? And, you know, I growing up as somebody who identified as queer, I was always like, yeah, you know, I would like to see more representation of my experience or just me or what I look like in general, you know, on the big screen or on the little screen or just even in books or music and things like that. You know, me and Miguel was talking about, like, you know, the whole anime thing now, right? Like, growing up, like, anime was such a taboo thing, right? Like, you was dogged the fuck out in school if you watched anime.
And now Netflix just did a new adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, which is the greatest anime of all time.
It really is, right? And I'm so excited to watch that shit. Super fucking excited.
But yeah, like, the nerd culture in general, like, I went to Grand Blanc, bro. So that was in a time where I was too black for Grand Blanc, but too white for the hood. You know? Like, I got that on both fronts. So I definitely understand the change and the shift of how culture's been. But I want to get back to what I asked you because the reason I bring this up, and I just want to get this on tape, really, because I know we have these conversations a lot, but on tape, I want to say, like, I think our community needs to understand these same similarities that we were talking about, and
most
now more importantly in media,
most definitely,
right?
Most definitely.
Like representation. Like us as black people, we are gonna fight tooth and nail to get a black Spider-Man, a black Superman, a black superhero, a black TV show, black movies, black adaptations. We gonna fight hard. Blackity black, black, black. But the second it turn gay,
well,
then you start to lose a lot of that same people who was fighting for you, which we part of the same family. But as soon as it turned gay, you we putting too much gay people on TV. Like what? When did one group of representation become okay and the other group not? Like, aren't we past the point to where
clearly
people are feeling threatened by gay people? I don't know how you feel threatened by a gay person.
I mean,
they don't like what you like.
I mean, but listen, like, but see, on some level, it's like I'm just going to be blunt with it. You have evolved to a certain point in your life where you're comfortable in yourself. You're comfortable in your experiences and you don't care. You know what I mean? But for other people, they're not comfortable in who they are.
You think that's it?
And they don't even now you really ask questions. Now you really get the information. So my experiences with men, on both ends of the spectrum, both who identify as gay or whatever, and those who identify as heterosexual. In general, right? So across the board, men are taught specific things about what a man should be, what masculinity looks like.
Definitely.
Like we all are. And we live in America, so you cannot escape that indoctrination at all. And so you just over time, as you grow up and you start becoming aware of things, you start recognizing who you are, you begin to break those things down and dissect those things, right? But on a fundamental level, which I find so hilarious, but niggas just swear up and down it's not true, that niggas really just want to be cool with other niggas and have that level of intimacy. They really fucking do. And we do it all the time. We just label it as gay. Oh, I don't do that gay shit. But it's just for example, the four of us just sat in the car and smoked and listened to Solange and talked, right? Right? It's technically, just go along. Technically, that can be considered as gay. Right. Because why you four niggas sitting in the car sharing the same ass blunt, swapping saliva, listening to Solange? That's gay. That's gay. Okay. That's gay as hell, right? But it's not, because it was just I'm just chilling with my niggas. Yeah. And we just listening to Solange, who is fucking dope.
Hard as fuck.
Smoking a backwood. Talking about, chiefing. Talking about real life shit that go on every day.
Women.
Okay. Women, politics, life, fashion, music.
We really did.
You know what I mean?
We really did. We really did talk about all that shit.
But that's what I'm saying. At the core of it, that's what we crave. But we have been denied that because men need to be tough. Men can't cry. We can't show emotions. You can't show your homie physical affection. You can't hug him. You can't say I love you, bro. You can't.
Right.
If you can't cry around this nigga, you can't lay on this nigga's shoulder and be like, bro.
Even saying that make me feel weird. You can't lean on this nigga's shoulder. I don't think I've ever been like, nigga.
You know what I mean? It's just you can't lay on your nigga shoulder and be like, bro, this bitch tripping. Bro, my
snuggle
girl.
Up with Brody.
Nah, I ain't talking about snuggle up, but I mean, if you need to snuggle up, you should be able to snuggle up with this nigga.
Girls do it all the time.
Listen,
man.
They really do, and that's what I'm saying. Women are afforded an opportunity at intimacy with each other that we as men are not.
Damn, and that probably
that fucks us up.
Right, I heard something that 10 hugs a day is you're supposed to get that for
it elevates your mood,
right? So it makes me wonder if not having physical contact with people
it's horrible
is hurting men, right? And is making us more aggressive and not as
it is.
That's why I always try to make sure to tap a brother on the shoulder and hug him and bring him in close and always contact, physical contact, man.
Right. So look how sinister this shit is, right? So you crave physical intimacy or physical touch with your homie.
Yeah.
But you can't do it. So you angry. So you bottling all.
I don't know if that's why niggas angry.
I'm not. But I'm just listen. I'm making a point though. But it's like you can't release things that are naturally inside you.
Word.
So over time, you building that up.
Yeah.
You getting angry. Like catalyst.
Yeah.
You at home. Like, let's think about as kids, we being raised by black women who all up in our face. Like, little nigga, you better shut the fuck up. And you like, because you want to be like, motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But you can't do that. So you holding all of this in. And so now you got a woman and she's doing some similar things that your mama doing. And like now you fucked up in the head because it's like, and now, but this time you like, now I'm about to punch your ass because you not my mama.
You not my mama.
You not my mama. So I'm about to knock your ass. Like that's what I'm like. This is how sinister this. Like this is how these things really manifest. When all you really need is a hug.
Call one of my niggas. Give me a hug. Bro.
I like, bro. You want to smoke a blunt? I need a hug right quick. Like seriously, like no, that's real shit. But then. But then the way how society has just like layered that shit for you to do that means you gay, and so that's a whole like I kid you not, like I'll give you a perfect example. Really cool friends with this dude. He got a girl, got kids, love him to death, mutual like we just cool with each other, right? And we was talking one day, and he was like, "Remember you used to like me?" I was like, "Yeah, nigga, I remember I used to like you. Why the fuck you bring that up?" And so we was just like having this conversation about that shit, right? But what happened is I told him, I said, you know, for a moment I was a little bit mad because we had this chemistry, but because you didn't want to quote unquote be gay, ain't nothing manifested from that. And so he was like, well, yeah, you know, I just didn't want to be gay. And what if I did like you? Then, you know, these feelings, like, what if I did have these feelings, but now I got a wife and kids. Now, like, I really can't do all that. You know what I mean?
Word.
All because of this word, gay. He don't want to be gay.
So you think if you was a woman, it would have been different?
He literally told me, like, he said, if I was a woman, I'd be with you. He literally told me to my face. That's how sinister and deep that shit is. You can have a phenomenal conversation with somebody, but because it is one word, you like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
so that's what I'm saying about the nuances of all this shit, right? Like, you going through some emotional shit, but you want a hug from your homie. You can't get a hug from your homie because that's gay. And now you fucked up in the head because it's like you really want to do this and you really need this to let it go, but you can't. So now you wondering why you an angry black man. Well, I'm an angry black man because I can't let out none of my emotions. I can't hug my niggas.
What do you think the black community needs to do, specifically us, to you know what I'm saying, to like alleviate this in the future?
Yeah. I mean, too many things. First of all, we really just need to have serious conversations with each other, like what we're having right now. And this is a perfect reason why I wanted you as the first guest. Because it's like, okay, I'm this queer man, you're this straight guy. Can we coexist? Can we talk? Can we laugh? Can we break bread?
I think I'm not the right person though.
I mean, maybe, but
I think you should get somebody who don't agree with your lifestyle and really pick them apart. Like, why don't you agree?
I will, but
because I'm
I know, but it's the simple fact that this conversation can happen in and of itself, whether you agree with me or not.
Word.
It's just the fact that this conversation can exist, which means that it's possible, which means that for us, we need to have a conversation. We need to have like because at the end of the day, all of us is traumatized.
Word.
All of us.
Oh my God.
So all of us need to deal with our trauma at the end of the day and really understand the goal is collective unity. That's what always been the goal of like people of color in this country, is to collectively come together to make some shit happen, because the narrative is that the white man is at the top, the rest of us is fighting for the scraps. And it's like, but we outnumber them ridiculously. Like, But anyway, again, to see how that shit just be fucked up. So it's like we really need to have conversations about language, what these words really mean. Why, like, nigga, why are you traumatized? Why is it? What is it that you feel? Why do you feel threatened by gay people? What's going on with you that you feel threatened by another man living his motherfucking life?
I'm tired of having him on Facebook.
Like, what is that about?
I need him in real life. I want people to look me in the eye and tell me
seriously, what is the problem?
Right.
Like, is it because, and it could be multiple things. Is it because you were taught this? This is just how you survive. Was this a survival tactic? Which for a lot of us,
I'm with you. I think it's a multitude of things. Like I hear from women who, like this girl I work with. I'm not gonna mention her name, but she had told me, you know, like I don't oppose it. I can't understand. You know, I'm a Christian. You know, and it's like. Yeah. Like there's so much to unpack there, you know. Like I don't even know where to start.
True.
But I always hit her with like
religion from.
I just always hit her with like, you don't know what people do in the privacy of their home, and if that's not affecting you, what difference does it make what they do? Why are you checking people's pockets? Why are you looking at who they fucking? But I just don't want them to go to hell. Stop thinking about religion. Just completely remove it from the situation. Like, because that is a faith-based thing. And you are already in a faith that doesn't really acknowledge homosexuality like that in a good light. Right. So it's not like your homosexual friend is even trying to hear that shit.
Because he, she, them, or they have already heard it umpteen times.
They're not trying to hear that shit. Before. I don't give a fuck.
But, you know, so we talk about men, but also understand that women have played a heavy role in the socialization, too. Right? Yeah. Like, again, going back to the story of being brought up by black women. You know, I grew up, I have three or four brothers. I'm the third of four. Raised in a single parent household, right? Like, with a black mom, black mother, right? And so she dealing with her own traumas from her childhood, from what men have done to her, from X, Y, and Z, right?
Racism, sexism, classism.
Okay. All of the opportunities that she might not be able to get, that she might not know about. You know what I mean? She trying to raise 4 black men. You know what I mean? Like, that's challenging, right? That takes a level of fortitude and emotional something to be able to do that.
Yes.
But with that comes, you also are passing on, I don't think people think about this, but you're also passing on that trauma. That's where we get the term generational trauma from. Like, you're passing on those things to your child. So, for example, like, again, like, so I was a crybaby when I was crying a lot. I was just emotional. I'm a Cancer.
What's your zodiac?
I'm a Cancer.
Dog meat.
July 11th, everybody.
Bro,
we got some Cancer Nation.
Cancer gang in this bitch. No, yeah, I've heard from a multitude of. I am a crybaby as well, so I don't know if it plays into the Cancer thing because I don't believe in zodiac shit at all.
I mean, I understand, but I was just an emotional. Like, I still am emotional, but I know how to manage that now because I started meditating and stuff. But, you know, as a kid, again, going back to, I'll be crying. My mom be like, "Suck that shit up." Like one time, mom called me up. She was like, "Bitch," and I was like, "Serious?" She's like, "Stop being a bitch." You know what I mean? And so
eat that shit.
I'm sitting in the car, literally like. Tough, right? Like, real quick, right? But that's fucking me up in the brain, right? And so now juxtapose that to you a grown man, and you trying to find love, right? And we haven't even discussed how women are indoctrinated into their own way of being, right? We just specifically talking about how women are indoctrinated to look at men, right? Like, okay, so like for them, a man has to be a particular kind of way. He gotta be the provider. He gotta be strong. He gotta protect me. You know what I mean? He gotta be open emotionally. I want you to talk to me. How is this nigga supposed to talk to you? And this nigga been told his whole life to shut the fuck up. Your emotions don't matter.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you asked me, like, how do we unpack all this stuff between the different sub communities within the black. We gotta have these kind of conversations. We gotta recognize that, man, we've been through some shit. We done had some fucked up experiences. Like, we traumatized. And first of all, we just need to have a collective cry. We gotta have a collective
kumbaya. We some Jeff Sky music.
Literally, bring the weed, bring the acid, bring the crystal. Somebody called Janae Aiko, Erykah Badu.
Yeah,
like, we need to cry that shit out, and then we can start having conversations about all of this.
Let's go.
All of this shit. Because it's we need it. It's time to have those kind of conversations, which I hope, or one of my intentions is for this podcast, is to have those kind of conversations.
Right.
Because I'm having, with my magazine, I am having these conversations with other queer people about, how do we liberate all of us? Because one thing that I always subscribe to is, being somebody who's a part of both communities. Sometimes I be over here banging with just the regular black people, like, yeah, that shit, okay, yeah, I'm with this. But then sometimes I hop shit up over here, I'm like, I feel that. Sometimes I'm like, I ain't, like, y'all right over here. Like, I ain't feeling what the fuck they talking about, and vice versa. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a delicate balance.
Being in the middle of both.
Being in the middle, because it's like, I want to fight for the rights of, the people who I say I fuck with, the people, or the niggas who I say I love and who I slept with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I want to be able to walk outside and hold my nigga hand and show that PDA, and be able to do this. I mean, I'm gonna do it now anyway, because I don't give a fuck, and run
it's
up on
legal now.
Run up, like, even for, like, run up on me if you fucking want to. Like, it is what it is. But I want to be able to fight for that access, fight for that right. At the same time, I'm black. I wear melanated skin, and I want to be able to see my people truly happy. Truly happy. Like, we always talk about, oh my God, I love my black people. I love when we smile. I love when we laugh. I love that too. Yeah. But now let's really take that to a whole nother level. So that's always our level of standard. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. We can't do what the oppressors have done to us when we wanted exposure or when we wanted a voice. I feel like far too often we just learn from what we see, right? Like, there's a story of a slave owner who was black, who was one of the most ruthless, fucked up slave owners ever.
Ain't that crazy?
That he got out of slavery, bought slaves, and became more fucked up than the slave owners that owned him, right? But, like, he learned, and he learned to be efficient. Yeah. And not to say that, the only reason I brought that up is, like, we learned these arguments when we wanted shine. So now we use them against the LGBTQ community when they want some exposure, when they want some representation. We use those same arguments. Superman was never gay.
And?
Superman's not real, bro. Like, what the fuck are we talking about right
He's
now?
A made
What are we talking about right
figure.
now?
Like,
what are we talking about right now? Spider-Man was never black. Spider-Man is a cartoon. What are we talking about right now? It's a comic book, bro. Like, can we please get our heads out of our asses?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It is, I mean, but that's how good the powers that be have been, right? Is that you okay? Like, because at this point, like, we don't need nobody. We police our own selves.
Word.
In multiple ways, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, sexually. We police our own selves. So it's like, at this point, like, you don't need no slave. You don't need no slave farms and nothing like that. Like, we still in slavery. We just don't call it that.
Yeah, man.
Like, that's the fucked up part about it. But what can we do?
How long we been talking? I think it's been about an hour.
It's been about an hour.
Yeah, look at us, man. The first podcast. Yeah, Wav Village, man. I just got to say, before we close out, I'm really honored to have you here. I really want I want people to know that this is your home, man. This is the home of the modern queer. So get with it or get lost. And I'm serious with that shit.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that shit? Wait a minute, hold on. Let me sit for it. Y'all hear that shit? That shit is on audio. That shit is on video. I got 2 other niggas in the room who can corroborate that story.
My fucking Instagram number. I'm getting calls. Oh, y'all niggas, y'all hanging up with them gays. I call Xzavier like, hey, bro, look, see.
I'm like, so you reneging, nigga?
I'm a reneging nigga.
But no, I mean, I told you, I said, you know, I hope you, what else I said? Do you have any idea the kind of people that I'm going to bring here? And you said, yeah, I've been thinking about it. He said, yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you feel like you know what I'm going to bring here, then.
And I just want to get this point. I don't want to boost myself, but I just want inclusivity.
Right.
I want everyone
True
to feel welcome. Like, truly. I want other... It's not... There's a bigger problem at stake. And if we're not okay with being around each other, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to start there. If I love the fact we're on podcasts, I constantly forget, so I be trying to censor myself. If niggas gonna act weird, bro, if niggas about to act weird because there's gay people in here, bro, don't be here. Like, don't be around. Don't go anywhere. Definitely don't go to Las Vegas. Don't go to Los Angeles. Don't go to New York. Don't go to Chicago. Don't go to Atlanta. Don't go to anywhere fun. Just stay in the middle of the country. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere fun because it's just so weird that we so backwards, and I'm constantly arguing with people over representation, and that's why it's important that we do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just gotta get that out there.
Most definitely. Well, we appreciate you. I appreciate you. Like I said in the beginning of this, like, I'm honored to be able to do this, to be able to be here, and just to be able to bring all kind of different people from all walks of life, both queer, straight, musically, artistically, entrepreneurially, to this space to, like you say, create that unity and create that true, genuine inclusivity. So we about that. Let's do this damn thing. Let's do it.
There it is.
And with that, that's the first episode of the Modern Queer Podcast. I'm your host, Xzavier V. I'm here with my dog, Anthony, Arline, Anthony Paul, Tony, Arline, whatever name you want. It's what the hell is boom, boom, boom. You know to see it. And we'll catch y'all for episode 2. Peace.
20 seconds and counting. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You ain't never met me for the moon crack. No, you ain't never labeled me as cool fat. Oh, I'm the one who bringing Stella's groove back.